Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to talk about something that holds the power to change your life, the simple but profound act of starting today. You see, the most dangerous word in our vocabulary is not failure. It's tomorrow. Why? Because tomorrow is the greatest excuse we have for avoiding what we need to do today. We convince ourselves that the conditions will be better, that we'll be more ready, that we'll be more prepared. But let me tell you something, tomorrow is the enemy of progress. So many of us are standing on the edge of our potential, waiting for the perfect moment. But let me ask you, what if today is the perfect moment and you're just too afraid to see it? What if your future is standing in front of you right now, dressed in the disguise of today's small decisions? The present moment holds immense power, far more than we often realize. In our fast-paced, goal-driven lives, it's easy to get caught up in the whirlwind of planning for the future, imagining all the things we will achieve one day. But what we sometimes overlook is that the key to unlocking that future, to making our dreams and aspirations a reality, lies not in the distant horizon, but in the decisions and actions we take today. The present moment is all we truly have, and it's in this moment that change can begin. The present moment is unique because it is the only moment we can directly control. The past is fixed, beyond our reach to alter, and the future is uncertain, shaped by factors beyond our knowledge. Yet, right now, in this moment, we have the power to make choices, to take actions that set the stage for everything that comes next. This is why the present is often referred to as a gift, because it offers us an opportunity to influence the course of our lives in ways that no other moment can. One of the great illusions we live under is the idea that tomorrow will somehow be better suited for action than today. We tell ourselves, I'll start tomorrow, or I'll wait until the right time. But here's the truth: tomorrow is simply a concept, a figment of our imagination. It doesn't exist. By the time tomorrow comes, it will have transformed into another today. What you do in the present moment is the only real mechanism you have to influence the future you desire. Every time you postpone action, thinking you'll be more ready in the future, you're essentially pushing away the very opportunity to shape your life. Consider this: every achievement, every milestone, every breakthrough begins in the present. All the greatest innovators, leaders, and visionaries of history had one thing in common: they understood the power of acting in the present. Whether it was taking the first step on a long journey, making a pivotal decision, or simply committing to the hard work ahead, they harnessed the power of the moment they were in. They didn't wait for circumstances to be perfect. They didn't wait for a better day to begin. They took imperfect action and trusted that the future would unfold in alignment with their efforts. Many of us fall into the trap of waiting for ideal conditions before starting. We think, I'll begin when I have more resources, or I'll take the leap when I'm more experienced, while it's true that preparation and planning have their place. Overthinking can often lead to paralysis. The reality is that conditions are rarely, if ever, perfect. Life is full of uncertainties, and waiting for every variable to fall into place will only delay your progress. Perfection is the enemy of progress. By waiting for the perfect moment, we miss the opportunities that are right in front of us. The present moment also has a psychological and emotional power that shouldn't be underestimated. When we take action in the present, we break free from the chains of fear and doubt. Often, the fear of failure or the fear of the unknown holds us back from starting. We wonder if we'll be good enough, if we'll succeed, if we'll face challenges that we're unprepared for. But when we shift our focus to the present and simply take the next step, that fear loses its grip. Action, even small steps, generates momentum. Once you start moving, the path becomes clearer and the fear diminishes. There's also a deep sense of fulfillment that comes from engaging fully with the present. When you immerse yourself in the task at hand, when you pour your energy and attention into this moment, you experience a sense of flow. This flow state is often where creativity and productivity peak. Your mind stops wandering to the past or future, and instead you become fully engaged in the now. This is where true progress happens, not in the abstract space of future planning, but in the tangible, actionable steps you take today. In the broader context of life, the power of the present moment is also tied to our awareness of time itself. Time is a finite resource. Every second that passes is one we can never get back. This doesn't mean we should rush through life in a state of panic, but rather that we should recognize the value of each moment we are given. Wasting time waiting for the right time to act is, in essence, wasting life itself. The more we appreciate the present, the more intentional we become about how we use it. The present moment is where opportunities reveal themselves. Opportunities are fleeting, they arise, and if we're not paying attention or ready to act, they pass us by. Often opportunities come disguised as challenges or small decisions that we might overlook if we're too focused on the future. By being fully present, we are more attuned to these opportunities and better equipped to seize them when they appear. It's in the present that we position ourselves for success. The present moment is where growth happens. Every time you take action today, you build habits, skills, and resilience that carry you forward into tomorrow. The small, seemingly insignificant choices you make today are the foundation for larger transformations down the road. Success is rarely a result of one grand gesture. It's the cumulative effect of consistently choosing to act in the present. The present moment is the most powerful tool at your disposal. It's where decisions are made, where fear is overcome, where opportunities are seized, and where real progress is achieved. One of the most common traps people fall into is the illusion of tomorrow. It's a deeply ingrained habit, a mental escape that allows us to put off the important things we know we should do. We tell ourselves, I'll start tomorrow, I'll work on my goals later. Or I'll be ready when the time is right. But the hard truth is that tomorrow doesn't exist. It's an illusion we create to avoid taking action today. We all know this on some level, yet we continue to defer our dreams, responsibilities, and growth in favor of the comforting idea that we will somehow have more time in the future. This is the deceptive nature of tomorrow. It always feels like it's just around the corner within reach, but when we get there, it turns into another today with the same challenges, the same doubts, and the same hesitations. The cycle repeats, and before we know it, weeks, months, or even years have passed without us making any real progress. This is how dreams are lost, not because we lack talent or opportunity, but because we keep waiting for the right moment. One of the reasons we cling to the illusion of tomorrow is fear. Fear of failure, fear of not being good enough, or fear of the unknown can make us hesitant to start. It's easier to delay than to face the discomfort of beginning something new. We think that with more time we will somehow become more prepared, or that the fear will go away. But here's the truth: fear doesn't diminish with time, it only grows. The longer we wait, the bigger the fear becomes and the more difficult it is to break free from its grip. Another factor that feeds into the illusion of tomorrow is perfectionism. Many of us believe we need to have everything perfectly aligned before we can begin. We think, I'll start when I'm fully ready, or I'll begin when I have all the resources I need. But waiting for perfection is just another way of avoiding action. Perfection is an impossible standard that can never be reached because there will always be more to learn, more to prepare, more reasons to delay. The irony is that by waiting for everything to be perfect, we miss out on the opportunities that exist in the imperfect present. Tomorrow also gives us a false sense of security. We think that we'll always have more time, that we'll be able to make up for lost time later. But life doesn't always work that way. Time is finite, and none of us know how much of it we really have. Opportunities come and go, and once they pass, they may never return. Each day we postpone action, we are not just delaying progress, we are risking losing the chance to make an impact altogether. It's important to recognize that the real cost of waiting for tomorrow is not just time, it's potential. When we delay taking action, we delay our growth, our development, and our ability to make a difference. Every day that we wait is a day that we are not improving, not learning, and not moving closer to our goals. The small steps we could take today add up over time, but when we keep pushing those steps into the future, we miss out on the cumulative progress that could have been made. Procrastination is another major culprit in the illusion of tomorrow. It's easy to tell ourselves that we'll be more productive or motivated later, but this is rarely the case. Procrastination is a habit that reinforces itself the more we indulge in it. The more we put off starting, the harder it becomes to break the cycle. What starts as a simple delay can turn into a pattern of avoidance, and before long we find ourselves stuck in a rut with little to show for the time we've spent. The illusion of tomorrow also distorts our perception of opportunity. We often believe that opportunities will be there when we're ready to seize them, but that's not always true. Opportunities are often fleeting, and they require us to act when they appear, not when we feel fully prepared. By waiting for a better time, we may miss the very window of opportunity that could have propelled us forward. Life doesn't always wait for us to be ready. Sometimes we have to take a leap of faith and trust that we will figure things out along the way. Another aspect of the illusion of tomorrow is the tendency to underestimate the power of small, consistent actions. We often think that significant progress requires massive effort all at once, but this is a misunderstanding. True progress is the result of consistent, incremental steps taken over time. Every time we delay action, we miss out on the opportunity to build momentum. Small actions compound, and over time they lead to substantial results. But when we keep waiting for tomorrow, we miss out on the compounding effect of consistent effort. One of the most profound realizations we can have is that the only time we ever have is now. The future is a product of the actions we take today. The decisions we make in this moment shape the course of our lives. Waiting for tomorrow to start is like waiting for the ocean to calm before stepping into the water. It's a delay based on a false premise. The conditions will never be perfect, and the future will always be uncertain. But what we do have is the ability to take action now with the resources, knowledge, and courage we currently possess. Breaking free from the illusion of tomorrow requires a shift in mindset. It means recognizing that the present moment is the most powerful tool we have. It means understanding that progress doesn't come from grand gestures made in the future, but from the small steps we take today. It means embracing imperfection and trusting that we will grow and adapt as we move forward. Most importantly, it means having the courage to start, even when we don't feel ready. In the end, the illusion of tomorrow is just that, an illusion. The future is not guaranteed, and the only time we can truly count on is the present. By letting go of the false security of tomorrow and choosing to act today, we open the door to endless possibilities. Fear and procrastination are like twin obstacles that stand between us and our goals, often working in tandem to hold us back from achieving our potential. These two forces, though different in nature, are deeply interconnected. Fear paralyzes us, making us hesitate to take the first step, while procrastination convinces us that delaying action will somehow make it easier. Together, they create a powerful barrier that can prevent us from moving forward, leading to missed opportunities, stagnation, and regret. Understanding the relationship between fear and procrastination is crucial if we want to overcome them and take control of our lives. Fear, at its core, is an emotional response to the unknown or to perceived danger. It's a natural, even necessary, part of life that has helped humanity survive for millennia. However, in modern times, fear often shows up not in response to physical threats, but in relation to our aspirations and ambitions. We fear failure, we fear rejection, we fear making mistakes, and perhaps most of all, we fear the unknown. This fear can be so powerful that it stops us from even starting. We become trapped in the cycle of what ifs. What if I fail? What if I'm not good enough? What if I lose everything? These thoughts can be overwhelming, and rather than facing them, we retreat into inaction. Procrastination is the manifestation of this retreat. Instead of confronting our fears head-on, we delay taking action. We convince ourselves that we'll be more prepared or more capable at some later point in time. But procrastination isn't just about laziness or lack of motivation. It's often rooted in the desire to avoid discomfort. Starting something new, especially when it's important or meaningful to us, is inherently uncomfortable. It requires effort, energy, and a willingness to be vulnerable. In response, we procrastinate, seeking temporary relief from the anxiety by putting off the task. But in doing so, we only amplify our fears and increase the pressure on ourselves. One of the most insidious aspects of procrastination is that it offers a false sense of security. When we delay action, we temporarily relieve the anxiety of starting, but that relief is fleeting. Over time, the task we've been avoiding looms larger and larger in our minds, and the fear of failure grows. We start to feel overwhelmed by the weight of the task, and as the deadline approaches or the consequences of inaction become more apparent, we panic. At this point, many people resort to last-minute efforts, rushing to complete something they could have taken their time on, or worse, they abandon the task altogether. Procrastination creates a vicious cycle. The more we avoid, the more fearful we become, and the harder it is to break free. Another critical aspect of fear and procrastination is that they are often deeply tied to perfectionism. Many people procrastinate because they want everything to be perfect before they begin. They set impossibly high standards for themselves and fear that if they don't meet these standards, they will be seen as failures. This need for perfection becomes paralyzing because deep down, they know that perfection is unattainable. The fear of falling short becomes so overwhelming that they prefer not to start at all, rather than risk imperfection. But this mindset is a trap. By waiting for perfection, we miss out on the progress that comes from learning, growing, and evolving through action. Fear of failure is perhaps the most common fear that leads to procrastination. We live in a culture that often equates failure with personal inadequacy, and this can make the prospect of failing terrifying. But failure is an inevitable part of life and growth. Every successful person has failed, often multiple times on their journey to success. The difference is that they didn't let the fear of failure stop them from taking action. They understood that failure is not a final judgment on their worth, but a stepping stone toward growth and improvement. When we let the fear of failure hold us back, we deny ourselves the opportunity to learn, to grow, and to develop the resilience needed to succeed. Fear and procrastination also limit our potential by keeping us stuck in our comfort zones. The comfort zone is a place where we feel safe and in control, but it is also a place where no growth happens. Staying within the boundaries of what we know may protect us from discomfort, but it also prevents us from discovering our true capabilities. To achieve our goals and reach our potential, we must be willing to step out of our comfort zones and face our fears. This requires courage, but it also requires action. The longer we procrastinate, the more entrenched we become in our comfort zones, and the more difficult it becomes to break free. Fear and procrastination are also barriers to creativity and innovation. When we're afraid of failing or being judged, we tend to stick to what's safe and familiar. We avoid taking risks, and as a result, we stifle our creativity. Procrastination exacerbates this by making us feel rushed when we finally do take action, leaving little room for experimentation or exploration. But creativity thrives on risk and uncertainty. The most innovative ideas often come from taking a chance, from being willing to fail and learn from that failure. When we let fear and procrastination control us, we close ourselves off to the possibilities of what we could create or achieve. Breaking the cycle of fear and procrastination requires a shift in mindset. First, we must acknowledge that fear is a natural part of the process, but it doesn't have to control us. We can feel fear and still take action. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the willingness to act in spite of it. Second, we must recognize that perfection is a myth. Instead of waiting for the perfect moment or for everything to be just right, we must start with what we have and trust that we will learn and improve along the way. Finally, we need to develop a sense of urgency. Time is finite, and every day we delay is a day we are not moving closer to our goals. By taking small steps today, we build momentum, and that momentum can help us overcome both fear and procrastination. Fear and procrastination are powerful forces that can hold us back from living the life we truly want. They feed off each other, creating a cycle of avoidance and missed opportunities. But by understanding their relationship and learning to act in the face of fear, we can break free from their grip and start making progress toward our goals. Each step we take, no matter how small, weakens the hold of procrastination and brings us closer to success. Success is a journey, not a destination, built on small, consistent steps. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that success is a singular event, a milestone we reach, and then everything is complete. But in reality, success is not something that happens overnight or in one grand moment. It's a cumulative result of small, steady actions taken over time. These actions, no matter how insignificant they may seem in the moment, build upon one another, creating momentum that propels us forward. The journey to success is about persistence, consistency, and a commitment to progress, no matter how slow or incremental it may feel at times. One of the most important aspects of success is the understanding that it doesn't happen in leaps and bounds, but through small, disciplined actions repeated day after day. The small steps are the building blocks of larger achievements. If you look at any successful person, whether in business, sports, the arts, or any other field, you'll find that their accomplishments are the result of years of hard work, dedication, and continuous effort. These individuals didn't wait for a big break or a perfect moment to start. They took action, often imperfect action, every day. Over time, these small actions compounded into significant results. One reason small, consistent steps are so powerful is that they create habits. Habits are the foundation of success because they shape our daily routines and behaviors. When we repeatedly take small steps toward our goals, we begin to build positive habits that make success more likely. For example, someone who wants to write a book doesn't sit down and write the entire thing in one sitting. Instead, they commit to writing a little bit each day, maybe 500 or 1,000 words. Over time, those daily writing sessions add up, and before they know it, they have a completed manuscript. The same principle applies to any goal. Small, consistent actions become habits that, in turn, make progress toward the goal feel almost automatic. Consistency is key because it allows for steady progress over time. Many people start with big ambitions but quickly burn out because they try to do too much all at once. They take massive action for a short period of time, but because they can't sustain that level of intensity, they eventually stop altogether. On the other hand, those who commit to small, manageable steps may not see immediate, dramatic results, but they are able to keep going for the long haul. This consistency leads to incremental progress, which, though slow at first, accelerates as the person builds momentum. Small steps, taken consistently, are far more effective than sporadic bursts of effort. One of the major challenges people face is the temptation to focus on immediate results. We live in a world that often glorifies quick fixes and instant gratification. Social media, for example, is full of stories of overnight success, making it seem as though success comes quickly and effortlessly for some people. But these stories often leave out the years of hard work, struggle, and small daily actions that led up to those moments of breakthrough. Real success rarely happens overnight. It's the result of persistence and consistent effort over time. When we focus too much on immediate results, we become discouraged if we don't see progress right away. However, if we shift our mindset to understand that success is a long-term journey, we are more likely to stay committed to the process, even when results are slow to appear. Taking small steps also reduces the overwhelm that often comes with big goals. When we set large, ambitious goals for ourselves, it's easy to feel paralyzed by the sheer size of the task. The gap between where we are now and where we want to be can seem insurmountable. This sense of overwhelm can lead to procrastination or giving up entirely. However, when we break the goal down into smaller, manageable tasks, it becomes much less intimidating. Instead of focusing on the entire goal, we focus on the next step, the one thing we can do today. This approach makes the journey feel more achievable and reduces the likelihood of quitting. Small, consistent steps allow us to learn and adapt as we go. When we take action, even in small ways, we gain valuable feedback that helps us improve. For example, if someone is working toward building a business, each small action, whether it's reaching out to a potential client, refining their product, or improving their marketing strategy, provides insights into what works and what doesn't. These small actions give us the opportunity to adjust our approach based on real-world experience, making us more effective over time. Without taking these small steps, we miss out on the learning that comes from doing, and we're more likely to make big mistakes later on. The concept of compounding is another reason small, consistent steps are so powerful. Just like compound interest in finance, small efforts can multiply over time, leading to exponential growth. This compounding effect means that even though the initial progress may seem slow, the results become more significant as time goes on. For example, a person who commits to reading 10 pages of a book every day may not notice a big difference after a week or two, but over the course of a year, they will have read more than 3,600 pages, or around 12 to 15 books. The same applies to fitness, learning new skills, or any other area of personal development. Small, consistent efforts lead to big results over time. It's also important to recognize that small, consistent steps build resilience and discipline. Success requires more than just talent or luck. It requires the ability to keep going, even when things get tough. By committing to small actions every day, we develop the discipline to stick with our goals, even when we face obstacles or setbacks. This discipline becomes a habit in itself, and it strengthens our resolve to keep pushing forward. Over time, this resilience becomes one of our greatest assets, enabling us to navigate challenges and persevere when others might give up. Small steps give us the opportunity to celebrate progress along the way. When we set only big, distant goals, it's easy to become discouraged because the finish line feels so far away. However, we focus on small, daily actions. We can celebrate the little wins that happen along the way. These small victories boost our confidence and motivation, making it easier to keep going. They remind us that we are making progress, even if it's not immediately visible, and that every step, no matter how small, brings us closer to our ultimate goal. Success is not about massive action or sudden breakthroughs. It's about the small, consistent steps we take every day. These steps, though seemingly insignificant at times, compound over time and lead to remarkable results. They build habits, create momentum, and ultimately lead to lasting success. When we embrace the power of small, steady progress, we set ourselves up for long-term achievement one step at a time. Overcoming fear is one of the greatest barriers to starting today. Fear is a universal human experience, and it often stands as the biggest obstacle between where we are and where we want to be. Whether it's fear of failure, fear of judgment, or even fear of success, these emotions can paralyze us, preventing us from taking the steps necessary to move forward. When we talk about the importance of starting today, it's crucial to recognize that for many people, fear is the main reason they hesitate. The weight of what ifs and uncertainties keeps us trapped in the comfort of inaction, making it feel safer to stay where we are than to risk stepping into the unknown. One of the most common fears that holds people back is the fear of failure. Failure, in many cultures, is seen as something to be avoided at all costs. From a young age, we are conditioned to believe that mistakes are negative and that success is defined by achieving perfection without any missteps along the way. This mindset is deeply ingrained, making failure feel like a personal deficiency rather than a natural part of growth. Because of this fear, many people avoid starting something new, whether it's a project, a business, or even a new relationship, because they are terrified of not succeeding. They would rather not try at all than risk the pain and disappointment of failure. Failure is not the enemy. It's a necessary part of the process of growth and learning. Every successful person has faced failure at some point in their journey, and many have faced it multiple times. What sets them apart is their ability to view failure not as a permanent setback, but as a stepping stone toward success. They understand that failure provides valuable lessons that success alone cannot teach. When we allow fear of failure to dictate our actions, we miss out on the opportunity to learn, adapt, and improve. The key is to shift our mindset. Instead of fearing failure, we must embrace it as an inevitable part of the journey toward achieving our goals. Another common fear that prevents people from starting today is the fear of judgment. We live in a world where people are constantly observing, evaluating, and offering their opinions, often without knowing the full story. The fear of what others might think or say can be paralyzing. Many people worry about how their efforts will be perceived by their peers, family, or society at large. Will they be ridiculed for trying something new? Will people think less of them if they don't succeed right away? This fear of judgment creates a powerful sense of vulnerability, causing us to stay in our comfort zones and avoid taking risks that could lead to growth and fulfillment. But the reality is that most people are far too absorbed in their own lives to focus on ours for long. While it's natural to worry about what others think, we must remember that the harshest judgment often comes from within ourselves. We are our own worst critics, magnifying the opinions of others and projecting our insecurities onto them. In truth, the people who matter most, those who truly care about us, are more likely to support us than to judge us. And for those who do judge or criticize us unfairly, their opinions should not hold enough weight to keep us from pursuing our dreams. When we allow fear of judgment to control us, we give away our power, allowing the opinions of others to dictate the course of our lives. There is also the fear of the unknown, which can be just as crippling as the fear of failure or judgment. Starting something new often means stepping into uncharted territory, where we don't know what to expect or how things will turn out. The human brain is wired to seek safety and predictability, so venturing into the unknown can feel deeply uncomfortable. This fear can manifest as procrastination or avoidance, as we tell ourselves we'll start once we know more or once everything is in place. But the truth is, we will never have all the answers before we start. There will always be uncertainties and risks, and waiting for the perfect moment to begin is often just an excuse to delay taking action. To overcome this fear, we must develop a sense of trust in ourselves and the process. We may not have all the answers when we begin, but that's okay. What matters is that we start. As we take action, we learn, we adapt, and we grow. The unknown becomes less intimidating with each step we take, and what once seemed overwhelming becomes manageable. Trusting the process means accepting that uncertainty is a natural part of the journey and that we don't need to have everything figured out before we begin. The path to success is rarely linear or predictable, but it's through navigating the unknown that we discover our true potential. The fear of success is another often overlooked barrier that prevents people from starting today. While it may seem counterintuitive, many people fear what will happen if they actually achieve their goals. Success brings change, responsibility, and sometimes pressure to maintain or surpass what has been achieved. This fear can be particularly strong for those who have struggled with self-doubt or imposter syndrome, as they may worry that they are not truly capable of handling success or that they don't deserve it. The fear of success can lead to self-sabotage, where individuals unconsciously undermine their own efforts to avoid the responsibilities or expectations that come with achieving their goals. To overcome the fear of success, we must redefine what success means to us on a personal level. Success is not about living up to the expectations of others or achieving a particular status or title. It's about growth, fulfillment, and living in alignment with our values and passions. When we shift our focus from external measures of success to internal fulfillment, the fear of success diminishes. We realize that success is not something to be feared but embraced, as it allows us to contribute more fully to the world and live out our true potential. Overcoming fear is about developing courage. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the willingness to act in spite of it. Everyone experiences fear. It's a normal part of the human experience. But what sets those who achieve their goals apart is their ability to push through their fear and take action anyway. This courage is built over time through small acts of bravery that gradually increase our confidence and resilience. The more we face our fears, the less power they have over us. Each time we step out of our comfort zone, we expand our capacity for growth and success. In the end, starting today is about recognizing that fear is natural, but should not dictate our choices. Whether it's the fear of failure, judgment, the unknown, or even success, these fears are part of the journey. The key is not to wait until the fear disappears, but to take action despite it. By doing so, we take control of our lives and move closer to the goals and dreams we aspire to achieve. When we push past our fears, we discover that we are far more capable, resilient, and resourceful than we ever imagined. Fear may always be present, but it no longer has the power to hold us back. The notion that procrastination is the enemy of progress is a truth that resonates with almost everyone. We all have dreams, goals, and aspirations, yet too often we find ourselves putting off the actions needed to achieve them. Procrastination is not just about laziness or a lack of motivation. It's a deeper, more complex psychological pattern that keeps us from reaching our potential. At its core, procrastination is the habit of delaying important tasks in favor of more immediate, less significant activities. It's the internal dialogue that tells us later is a better time to start, even though deep down we know that later often never comes. Understanding this enemy is crucial if we are ever to overcome it and truly make progress. One of the main reasons people procrastinate is due to fear and anxiety. When faced with a large task or an important decision, the mind tends to focus on the potential difficulties, failures, or discomfort that may arise. This creates a sense of overwhelm, making the task seem impossible or intimidating. As a result, we distract ourselves with smaller, less important tasks, things that give us an immediate sense of accomplishment, but do not contribute to our long-term goals. Checking emails, scrolling through social media, or tidying up the workspace become tools of avoidance. These activities might provide a temporary feeling of productivity, but they ultimately keep us stuck in a cycle of avoidance, preventing us from moving forward. The irony of procrastination is that it often creates the very outcomes we fear. By delaying action, we increase our stress, reduce the quality of our work, and miss opportunities. The longer we wait, the more pressure we place on ourselves. and the less time we have to execute our tasks effectively. This results in hurried, subpar efforts, leading to feelings of dissatisfaction or failure. In extreme cases, chronic procrastination can damage careers, relationships, and even mental health, as the mounting pressure can lead to anxiety, guilt, and a diminished sense of self-worth. It's a vicious cycle. We procrastinate to avoid stress, but by procrastinating, we increase our stress and harm our progress. At the heart of procrastination is often perfectionism. Many people delay starting a task because they fear they won't be able to do it perfectly. They set unrealistically high standards for themselves and worry about producing anything less than perfect. This fear of imperfection can be paralyzing, making it difficult to even begin. The desire for perfection can manifest as endless planning and preparation, constantly refining ideas or researching details without ever moving into the action phase. In this sense, perfectionism becomes a form of procrastination, as the quest for the perfect plan becomes an excuse for not executing any plan at all. To combat perfectionism-driven procrastination, we must shift our mindset. Progress is more important than perfection. It's better to take imperfect action than to wait endlessly for the perfect moment or plan. In reality, no plan is flawless, and the path to success is rarely smooth or predictable. The key is to start where you are, with what you have, and trust that you will learn and adapt along the way. By focusing on progress rather than perfection, you give yourself permission to grow, make mistakes, and improve. This shift in thinking not only reduces procrastination, but also increases productivity and self-confidence over time. Another major factor behind procrastination is a lack of clarity and direction. When we aren't clear about our goals or the steps needed to achieve them, it's easy to become paralyzed by indecision. Uncertainty breeds inaction because without a clear roadmap, every action feels uncertain or risky. When the path ahead is murky, we're more likely to delay taking action, telling ourselves that we'll figure it out later, but this later often never arrives, and the goal remains distant and unattainable. The solution to this type of procrastination is goal setting and planning. When we break down our larger goals into smaller, manageable tasks, we reduce the sense of overwhelm and create a clear path forward. Each small step taken brings us closer to the ultimate goal, and as we begin to see progress, our motivation increases. Planning not only clarifies the steps we need to take, but also gives us a sense of control over the process. Instead of feeling like the goal is too big or too far away, we can focus on the immediate task at hand, knowing that it is part of a larger plan. Planning alone is not enough. Consistency is the antidote to procrastination. It's easy to be motivated at the start of a project, but maintaining that momentum requires discipline. Procrastination often sets in after the initial excitement wears off and the real work begins. This is where many people falter. They start strong but quickly lose focus or get discouraged by the lack of immediate results. To overcome this, we must cultivate the habit of consistency, committing to taking action every day, even if it's just a small step. Consistent action compounds over time, leading to significant progress and eventual success. Another critical aspect of overcoming procrastination is self-awareness. We must recognize the moments when we are procrastinating and understand why we are doing it. Are we avoiding the task because we're afraid of failure? Are we delaying because the task feels too big or overwhelming? Or are we simply distracted by more immediate, less important activities? By identifying the underlying reasons for our procrastination, we can address them directly and take steps to overcome them. For example, if fear is the issue, we can work on reframing our mindset around failure. If the task feels too big, we can break it down into smaller, more manageable parts. Self-awareness is the first step toward breaking the cycle of procrastination. Accountability can be a powerful tool in combating procrastination. When we hold ourselves accountable to someone else, whether it's a mentor, a friend, or even a public commitment, we are more likely to take action. Accountability creates external pressure, which can help counteract the internal resistance caused by procrastination. It forces us to move beyond excuses and take responsibility for our progress. Regular check-ins with an accountability partner or group can keep us on track, ensuring that we don't fall back into old habits of avoidance. Procrastination is a formidable enemy of progress, but it is not insurmountable. By addressing the underlying causes of procrastination, whether it's fear, perfectionism, lack of clarity, or inconsistency, we can take control of our actions and move forward toward our goals. The key is to start today, even if the steps we take are small. Over time, consistent action, self-awareness, and accountability will help us overcome procrastination and unlock our full potential. Progress, not perfection, should be our guiding principle as we strive to achieve our dreams and aspirations. In conclusion, the time to act is now. Procrastination, perfectionism, fear, and indecision are all enemies of progress that can keep us stuck in a cycle of inaction and missed opportunities. The journey towards success is not about waiting for the perfect moment or having everything figured out. It's about starting today, embracing imperfection, and taking consistent steps forward. Clarity, planning, and accountability are your allies, while self-awareness helps you recognize and overcome your internal barriers. Ultimately, progress is made through daily action, and the future you envision is shaped by the choices you make now. So break free from the chains of delay. Your future begins the moment you decide to start today.